Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Season 5 of My Hero Academia. We are on Episode 7, and in the last episode we finished off Match 2 in this sort of training exercise arc between Class 1A and Class 1B to find out who is overall the better class. Now, I kind of thought that 1B would win Match 2, and they did. I just felt like it was kind of like an inevitability with the matches that are to come and who is involved in those teams. It just felt like this one was definitely just going to go to Class 1B. I didn't think it was going to be a total wipeout, though, with 4 members of Class 1B still standing and all the members of Class 1A captured. I just didn't, or knocked out. I just didn't think that was, it was going to happen that thoroughly. But it did in the end. And it pretty much all came down to Komori, really, with mushrooms. So yeah, Class 1B wins that match, which means we are at a 1-1. I still believe that, in the next 2 matches, there's going to be 1 win and 1 loss again, which is going to put it to a 2-2, and that's going to basically ramp up as the stakes for the last match, right? That makes the last match so important on who actually takes the win. But in the end, it's going to be interesting to see if Class 1B does actually come out with the overall win, as this is sort of their time to be showcased, because I did think that there is no way that Class 1A was going to steamroll Class 1B in this training exercise, because it's their first real chance to be showcased. I know that previously in the show there has been a few characters that have sort of gotten their moments, but as a whole of Class 1A versus Class 1B, this is kind of like the sort of the meat of that, where we are seeing what they are capable of and everything like that. So with my thoughts being that it's going to be a 2-2 in the next 2 matches, kind of means that I'm wondering who's going to take the loss. You know what I mean? Because I don't see this being a case of it going down, 4 wins for Class 1A and 1 loss for Class 1A. Or another way to put a win, just 1 win for Class 1B. I don't see that being the case. I feel like it has to be a 3-2 at the end of this. So it's going to be a case of, well, who takes the last loss, if that's what I'm thinking about. And I don't know, I just can't call it. I have a bad feeling it's going to be Bakugo's team, but we don't have to worry about that now, because this 3rd match coming up is Todoroki's team, I believe. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Someone did actually make a good point last in the comment section for the last episode, which was that almost the experience that Class 1A has had has been their downfall for that match, for the last match, because it's almost like a dumbed down version for them at this point, because they've been in sort of life-threatening situations where their lives are on the line, that coming down to a training exercise, it's almost like they don't take it seriously. So, they kind of, for example, Tokoyami doesn't take out or knock out Komori, which allows her to get the sort of drop on Tokoyami, which frees up Komori and Shihai, and yeah, that basically means that it's a shutout from then on, because Kendo had obviously taken care of Yaoyorozu and everything like that. There was a spotlight on Yaoyorozu for this match, where it's kind of going over old territory, but doing it in a way which symbolizes the fact that Yaoyorozu hasn't given up or lost faith in herself, lost confidence like she did previously. So it's still progress in a way, and yeah, so they did take the loss in the end. But it is interesting, like, that this is something that does keep cropping up. This idea that they don't take the training seriously enough. It's kind of like we've seen Deku a couple times where this has happened, where he doesn't actually look at the people who are playing villains and think about them as that. You know what I mean? He just disregards it. So he doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't actually go in with the intention of knocking them out, or anything like that. And it's something that you think that they would focus on, try to address, because we're at season 5 now, so it's one of those things that, depending on how much training they have got to go, we're still in the first year. So it's kind of like one of those things where like a lot has happened, but I guess in regards to how long the series has gone, the fact that we are still in the first year can kind of say that, well, not much time actually has passed. It's just that a lot has happened in a short space of time. But, in that space of time, 1A has had to deal with so much that, I guess they just haven't had the time to really focus on the idea that they should be taking training seriously. You know what I mean? Because that's just going to progress them even further. I think the one thing that does showcase actually is the idea that because Deku keeps making that mistake of, not taking the training as seriously, that, on the other side, you've got Bakugo who does. And he follows through with everything thinking that they are villains, so therefore he does try to incapacitate them, whereas Deku doesn't. So that's just kind of, propping up that whole thing between those two, and the sort of the juxtaposition between those two characters anyway. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So we are going to get into episode 7. So the third match, can't wait to see what Todoroki and Iida as well, because Iida is a part of this team. To see what his new Recipro is all about and everything like that, and also who are they going to be going up against. So yeah, nothing else to really talk about. As always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken down for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and the link to the reaction will be in the description below. And as always, the link to the full-length reactions in the description below, so if you do want to watch my full-length reaction to this episode and not just the cut 10-minute version, then the offer is there for you. But yes, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get into episode 7 of Season 5, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
Sorry about that, Tokoyami. You want a cough drop?
I don't need your pity.
A cough drop?
At least see a recovery girl and get some medicine for your throat.
Why must we carry the injured? Rescue protocol needs reform.
The grounds were completely wrecked.
When will Komori's mushrooms disappear? They'll be gone in 2 hours, give or take.
So are they going to remain on that?
It'd be logical to change locations.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Take a break as well.
Oh, you poor losers! No need to look so frustrated. It's not your fault. We're just better. Accept inferiority.
It's not just their quirks. You have to factor in attitudes and mental strength, which both contribute to overall growth and lead to better performances on the battlefield.
I am here without startling you.
Oh, boy!
Young Midoriya, a moment, please. As I mentioned, this is all new territory.
Back to the
Never heard of
messages.
spontaneous activation before, but I'm planning to ask Gran Torino if he knows anything. Be careful in that 5th battle. Things could get weird. After all, the vestiges of One for All did first appear to you during a match against young Shinso.
I feel like it's going to happen again if they're setting it up now.
Again?
Yikes! John, what
You asked me to keep your relationship a secret, but you're always sneaking around like this. Are you stupid?
He's going to learn about it.
In your sleep? Huh. You're so hopeless I can't tell if you're improving or failing.
Honestly?
I've gotten stronger since the last time we fought, so you better be keeping up.
I'm trying.
Young Bakugo's being considerate in his own special way.
The hell are you smiling at? I'm dead serious, you idiot, and that dumb look on your face pisses me off!
Or not. I feel like everything is connected somehow.
Yeah.
What are you and the other previous users of our quirk trying to tell us?
The third match will take place in an area 2 blocks east of where the previous rounds were held. The cages have been moved to your new bases.
2 blocks? Ah, Tetsu.
Iida's turn to fight.
Talk about a balanced team.
Yeah, it's
What
pretty.
he draws.
We've got Todoroki.
Pretty good
so it
across the
should
board.
be an easy win.
I performed shamefully out there. Please avenge us.
Our mentors, Hawks and Endeavor. We studied under the heroes who fought the last great battle still in people's minds.
Yeah, right.
It makes it our duty to uphold the honor of the top 2 heroes.
Nice. You have that connection now.
Shoto, you must learn this move if you're to advance. Do not run from me. Quit pretending to be weak. Toya had the potential. He had even more firepower than me. But he had your mother's weak constitution. You're the only one who can do this move. You can fulfill my ambition.
So Toya had more firepower than Endeavor.
I am class representative. I must aid any of our troubled peers. Brother's recovery has been going well lately.
Oh, that's
Nice.
great to hear.
It'd be nice to see more Iida because he's been like out of the picture for a long time now, I feel.
I also have the duty to uphold my brother's honor and live up to his name.
But then
Watching everyone closely.
he did have all that
means
time to
everyone's
stay and
watching
everything,
me
so...
too.
I was 3rd place at the sports festival. I'll show everybody that I'm a worthy successor.
People always treat me like I'm some kind of hard-headed moron without a clue. But I got accepted into UA just like you guys. It's an unbalanced team we're stuck with. We don't have any scouts. That's gonna spell big trouble for us.
We just talked about our plan.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Face
We'll
first.
have to level this place.
Terrible idea!
They can't.
Come on.
I mean, they can, but...
What's that?
I hear the screeching sounds of metal against metal.
Level this whole place!
Class B, Tetsu. Hero name, Real Steel. Quirk, Steel.
No cheap tricks needed. It's a fight to the death, a brawl for the edges.
I wonder how that's going to match up against him with being steel, you know?
Well, we can work with this too, I suppose.
And your thinking's too flexible, Juzo.
Tetsu doesn't mean any harm. In fact, his approach even plays to our strengths.
Based on the reverberations, I believe he's destroying their surroundings.
If that's the case, I welcome the approach.
I guess with the vibrations, you can't pinpoint where they are, maybe.
Agreed.
Maybe it'll throw Shoji off.
Class proud. Let's go, Team 3.
What on earth?
The villain is continuing to flee down Route 5.
Are those just support items?
Not catching me.
Oh, there he comes.
Endeavor.
Shit! Run!
I'll take a
Kids.
hostage.
Fuck. No chance.
Damn you! Let go of me! No, stop, please!
Right on his arms.
Quietly!
Clean arrest.
Could be easy
Collateral
3rd degree
damage? Little
burns.
to speak of.
Yeah, not many people at the harbor. It was a smart plan.
What is it?
We just wanted to say thank you for saving us.
Any of you heard it all?
No, sir.
Best be off then.
Nice. Making friends. Or fans, I should say.
With Fuyumi's help, finally got Shoto's contact info. So stop ignoring my messages.
God.
I'm not the same person who disregarded what you wanted in life. Now that you're working toward becoming your own hero, I want to teach you that move like a good father.
Interesting.
Shoto!
Yeah.
It's probably in class, right?
The same way you said it at the sports festival.
Let's all spread out.
On it.
Make
They
it
want
count,
us-
Todoroki.
They want to spread out, okay.
If I thought the other team was standing around out in the open,
Yeah. His big ice blast.
Now we know where Todoroki
Nice.
is. The others?
Can't see them.
Even if Honenuki has used his quirk to soften the ground on us, it won't matter if we stick them in place.
That's the guy that does that. I remember seeing that in
Their
sports festival.
movements inhibited.
Alright, what's this all about? Alright, that's just his burst. I haven't seen what the... Oh. He changed... Oh, he could do it with the ice?
though if you'd been cold-hearted and used fire, we wouldn't have been able to trap you.
Class B, Juzo Honenuki. Hero name, Mudman. Quirk, Softening.
What?
This relaxed rock star took one of Class B's recommendation spots.
He must have activated his quirk
Cool.
the ice appeared. I'll retreat for now and wait.
Found you. I softened a bunch of random stuff
What?
around here, so it'd be smart to watch your step.
They can't tell the difference either.
Excellent job of brushing off Todoroki's area attack.
You really that good at reading the situation? I hope our classmates haven't been thrown off.
I'll handle Ojiro!
I can't guard against this for long. Class B, Senkaibara.
Gyrate.
Spiral. Quirk, Gyrate.
Damn. It's gotta increase that power.
The ground beneath the ice is also softened. You're difficult to deal with.
They're just gonna
So I'll leave
sink.
you trapped in the muck for now.
Villain! Your wickedness knows no bounds!
He really gets into character. With his ice off the table, Todoroki is operating at half his power.
He's gonna have to just use fire now. Ah, this is Pony's quirk.
Betting they keep Shoji in what they thought was a safe place.
She can just fire them and regrow them.
Class B, Pony Tsunatori. Quirk, Horn Cannon. Currently, she can control up to 4 of them once they've shot off her head.
So what, she's got like homing,
These are stronger than I expected.
like a homing ability?
Here we go.
Oh, right, great. Ah, yeah.
Teeth chattering? Think you can beat me in a Stand a chance!
I don't know if heat's going to really do much against Tetsu either.
You are evil incarnate!
Sorry about it.
Oh yeah, because
Super
he
has a time limit,
tu-
right?
turned it back. But maybe his engine can heat up around it.
Ingenium will rush anywhere at any time. That's what these legs are for. They won't be constrained.
Great.
I've been at full throttle this entire time. New style, Recipro Turbo.
All right, that's his new Recipro move.
Congrats on getting your provisional license, little bro. You're abusing your engine a bit much, though, aren't you?
Did he
Hey,
teach him it?
Mom, he's getting close to that age, you know. Don't you think it's time?
Well, he's matured.
Tuning my engine?
Yeah. Training is good, but you can also pull your mufflers out. Do it right, and parts that can take more of a beating will grow back in their place. It's a technique passed down from our grandfather.
Bloody hell.
The Iida family can help more people, and do it faster than anyone else. This will be painful, though.
Wow.
It takes a lot of dedication.
Oh God, I don't like that.
To improve your quirk, this is the way to do it.
But that's cool though, because
10 minutes.
really on the nose. I love that though.
For 10 minutes, nobody can stop me.
That's so cool. Wow, it lowers his fuel consumption. Okay, episode 7, and we begin match 3, which is also the name of the episode, so yeah, easy to remember. And yeah, that's really cool there at the end. Do we go straight into that? I think we do, because it's so it's so on the nose about what a hero is, about the whole, a hero being someone who, is for like self-sacrifice and everything like that. To save people and help people and everything, and that is so like on the nose that it's not a case of something as simple as fighting a villain and getting hurt in the fight to save people, but the fact that it's almost akin to breaking a bone, because then obviously it as it heals, it strengthens, it comes back stronger. It's almost like that. Like he is causing himself bodily harm. He is self-harming himself so that it grows back stronger. But God, that is horrible. Like just the image of like just a hole in your calf is not nice. Like a hole in any part of the body, but I don't know. There's something like tender about the calf that I feel like is just horrible. Like anywhere where there's like a muscle, you know what I mean? Like it just like the image of it. Like just the trying to imagine how that feels to take that out must be horrible, But that just makes it more, like I have so much more like just like respect for him, And I didn't even know what I was thinking the other episode when he said that there's something like about his Recipro or something new. I was like, oh, okay, well, you know what I mean? What's new about it, And again, like I talk about this all the time, but the creativity and use of the different quirks is so like imaginative. Like you don't think that this is what they are doing. Like how do you come up with that? And even the person, how they, the fact that the mangaka comes up with it, I don't see how people can even think about like that beforehand. No one's guessing that. They can take his mufflers out, and they come back stronger, which allows them to take on like more sort of punishment, which I guess just allows for, the more horsepower as what Iida referred to it here as. That he's increased his horsepower, he's lowered his fuel consumption, which I wonder to what degree, like how does he how does that work? Like how does he do that? Because he did refer to like the idea that he'd had them on the whole time as well, which is which I guess could refer to it, but then I don't know. This might seem like just like a weird sort of example, but because what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about Top Gear because there was a sort of like an experiment where they determined like how fast you go. Does it use up more fuel or if you're going slower, are you able to sort of, increase the amount of time that fuel lasts for, And I can't remember for the life of me, because it was so long ago that I watched that what the outcome was. But I wonder if it's a case of like, if it's going faster, you actually end up going farther, And that's what he's talking about when he's like lowering his fuel consumption by keeping it on the entire time and not like sort of reactivating it. There's these like kind of, I guess, myths. I guess like, I don't know, like surrounding certain things. Like, for example, a PC, right? Is it more like, is it consuming more energy to switch, like just literally shut down your computer and, anytime you want it back on, you power it back up? Or do you just put it on sleep mode? I remember a myth like that, like way back when, that, there's an argument to say that it's actually consuming, more energy. It's actually more energy efficient to just put it on sleep mode than it is to actually turn it off and turn it back on again. Or is it like by turning it on and turning it off, is it gradually over time, is it causing like more sort of strain on the machine itself, stuff like that. And I wonder if that's what he's referring to when he's saying lowering his fuel consumption by keeping it on the entire time. And as he said, there's a time limit of like 10 minutes, and I'm sure that the more he uses it and the more that he keeps pulling out his mufflers and everything like that you can increase that time. That maybe that is the case. Possibly. But like when he says because the other thing is he increases his horsepower, which I'm guessing just is a sort of a side effect of they grow back stronger, and therefore they're able to handle the increased, I guess, pressure from the output that it's having. So I'm going to assume that is the case. And I was kind of right to a degree that Iida was able to break out of that due to the power of his engines. However, I was feeling that it was the power of, his previous sort of moves, like, reciprocal burst, or even extend. But if he was to use extend, that's the one that kind of shoots his engines for a while, isn't it? Which is another thing that is interesting to note, I guess, is because he can do this and make his sort of these, the parts that regrow stronger, means that he can probably use his extend multiple times and not just the once, because that was the one thing with his extend, is that it sort of kind of overheats his like his mufflers and kind of almost like short circuits, like to the point where they don't work for a while, right? So but with these new and improved parts, I feel like you'll be able to go much further with that and kind of do it multiple times, which is definitely interesting. And also the fact of like literally passing down like that idea, that it's so cool, because it's not like it's cool. It's completely unlike, and I'm talking about again like the creativity of use of the quirk, that like something I guess you don't automatically think about is when like in regards to the other characters, like their strengthening of their quirk is based around continuously using it in sort of effective ways, different ways to get a different effect and everything like that. But this is completely unlike anyone else's, where he's literally causing himself harm. He's taking out things that have to regrow stronger. There's nothing, no other character has something like that, at least I don't think anyway. So it's really cool. But also like the total like straight up just passing something down, not only in regards to like just a it's something that they do, but the fact that like Iida is essentially a legacy sort of hero. He's not like a new hero that has gotten a new name and everything like that, but he's literally going as Ingenium. So it's something that is passed down from his brother, and I guess that was always sort of planted anyway early on, because he was the one that had this sort of specific family run hero agency, which was every member of the family, they're all speed demons, speed freaks in a way. So yeah, just really, really cool. So the other thing is with Todoroki, who is kind of forced to use fire now, which is really cool because we haven't seen him in that way before. And this is a way to progress that whole story with Endeavor and everything like that. Because beforehand, when we were first getting introduced to him and, everything was kicking off in the sports festival and everything, we were getting all of the background story and everything. He refused to use his fire until Midoriya forced him to. But even then, ice was still available and he could use it to a degree. To its fullest degree, really, at that time anyway. And he went ahead and did so. And even still, like, all the way up until this point, his main focus is to use ice and not fire. Fire is like kind of like that thing that has ended up becoming sort of, it's a last resort. It's something that if it's needed, I'll use it. But if it's not, then I'm just using my ice. So there's still that side of Todoroki, like that part of him that still doesn't want to use it, and I guess even still now, and every time he does use it, it still affects him. So by putting him in a situation where he's forced to pretty much only use fire is definitely interesting. I feel like that's going to be a big progression actually going forward, where maybe this could be the case where he makes his biggest, like, the biggest change, the biggest leap forward with his father is this, because I believe because we did actually get a little bit of Endeavor in this episode, because I mean, since we started the whole the matchup thing, we haven't actually had some like time with him, so since like episode 2, and he came back in this one, obviously, because Todoroki is having his matchup. But Endeavor has gotten, like, his contact information and everything from his sister. From Endeavor's daughter, anyway. Todoroki's, or Shoto's sister. And he's been wanting to teach Shoto that move that he wanted to teach him way back when. But obviously his personality has changed. The way he's trying to be an actual father now has changed, and he wants to teach him it properly as opposed to forcing it on him. But what I'm thinking is about to happen is I think that Todoroki's going to use it without Endeavor teaching him in the way that he wants to teach him. I feel like Shoto's going to have, either he's like just like kind of kept it locked away, but even that whole time where he was being force trained in a way, I have a feeling that Shoto is going to be able to access that and do it in that match. Whatever it is, I don't know what it could be though. This is the thing, like, the problem is that on the surface, the quirks are so like, well, some of them aren't straightforward, but the ones that are straightforward, like fire, like ice, like just being fast, using them in such creative way, it's like these quirks that are so straightforward just almost puts this like cage around my brain that refuses to let me think about how we could use it in such a way. What are they referring to? What are they alluding to when they're saying like, oh, you need to learn this move and everything? I'm thinking fire, right? What can be done with fire that is going to surprise me? Now, the one thing that I might say is that he can turn it to blue fire. Because we have seen that, Endeavor do that before, where he kind of like focuses fire to to a degree that was blue flame, which blue flame burns. It's like a clean flame. It's not a dirty one, and actually burns hotter. So, which also I guess goes into the fact of what Endeavor was saying at one point with Toya, which I believe is Dabi. And something he actually said in this episode is that Toya actually, in terms of fire, actually had more firepower than Endeavor did. But as he said, like, obviously to some degree, he didn't like that Toya didn't have the the ice side or whatever. that he was unable to sort of combat that. So therefore, even though it might have been sort of a hotter flame, that maybe it was sort of, it was very fallible, you know. I mean, even with how hot Endeavor can go, he also doesn't have that sort of counterbalance, you know. But I mean, he's had time to train it and everything like that, and he can probably go for an extended amount of time, more so than what Dabby could. But Dabby's like burns hotter for a lesser period of time, maybe. You know, so that is interesting. But that's all I'm thinking, is that just that maybe that one time that we saw Endeavor change it to a blue flame. It's another thing as well, actually, now that I think about it, I'm surprised I didn't actually talk about that in the last episode of Season 4. Because we saw him against another Nomu use it so that it couldn't regenerate. But we never actually saw him use that against that one Nomu that could talk. Interesting. I mean, he did that Prominence Burn and he went plus Ultra, you know. I wonder. That would have been cool, you know, if he did that Prominence Burn but it was blue flame instead. Fuck. You would think that if he was going plus Ultra, that would be the one, you know, to burn up a hotter flame. But I don't know. Maybe it's something we'll see in the future. Who knows? But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. It would also like make a cool visual, I feel like. Like it's almost because something of the idea of the ice being blue as well. Like you could have a whole thing where he uses it in a creative way, where he actually uses the ice ahead of the fire, which I mean he does anyway, but like use it to almost hide the blue fire, you know what I mean, to trick an opponent to thinking it's not coming. And when they take care of the ice, all of a sudden a blue flame emerges from behind it, and it's like you weren't expecting it because you couldn't really see it. Where if there was a yellow flame behind it, it would be more obvious. That would be cool. That would be cool, you know. That's something I've just like sort of created in my head, that like if it doesn't get used, I'm going to be disappointed now, you know. But yeah, cool. Yeah, so what else? Yeah, so we got introduced to the Class 1B for this match as well. So Tetsu was kind of like heading it up. One of the main things that they did actually talk about just before it actually started was that they didn't have any, sort of like reconnaissance abilities, I guess, to help them out. They're all pretty much straightforward. You know, you've got the one that can kind of set traps with Juzo, who does the softening, but then with the other ones, it's kind of like, you know, Pony can use a horn cannon at range, so there is that. But Kaibara and Tetsu are more like kind of just like front kind of brawlers, and so, you know, it's kind of like a thing where they were, I guess, just forced into taking a head-on fight, really. And the sort of, I guess, the crux of their whatever their plan would be, I'm guessing, like, they didn't. I mean, they said that they had a plan, but then Tetsu kind of threw it out the window. But at least they've got, I guess, that sort of trap with Juzo with his softening, you know, which is cool because it doesn't actually affect the visual of the thing that he's softened. Well, it does once it's been, you know, once it's been hit, I suppose. But that's the thing, is like you had Ojiro just, you know, jumping from like pipe to pipe, and until he landed on it, he didn't realize that that one had been affected, and so you don't know where you can actually walk, or touch or land on or anything like that, you know, which forces a sort of like this sort of mental thing inside their head, where they're thinking so much of what can I, you know, they're thinking too much of what they can land on or what they can't. They'll be too busy focusing on that rather than, you know, the opponent, and that allows their opponent more time to, you know, figure out a strategy or take them out while they're not thinking about them. So yeah. Also, Juzo was recommended. One of them that was recommended to UA as well. which is cool. I would say, like, it was interesting, like, the way Tetsu actually said, like, he actually quoted, like, saying that, you know, I wasn't recommended to UA like you lot. So I thought that, I feel like we've heard before that Pony was recommended, because I think she came over from, like, America or something, didn't she? But as for Kaibara, I don't know. The thing is that when they're, like, you know, when their hero card popped up and it was like, you know, hero name and quirk and everything like that, that the only one that it said was recommended to UA was Juzo. But I feel like Pony was as well. Unless that one time it was just like Pony is just an exchange student as opposed to, like, you know, I'll come from a foreign country. Maybe it was never said that she was recommended. But the way that Tetsu said it, it sounded like the other three were, and he wasn't. You know? So yeah, I don't know. But so yeah, Kaibara, he can gyrate. That's his the name for his quirk, which allows his sort of, you know, his arms, his legs to be used as drills, which, you know, it sort of increases in power. Like, you know, if you have like a spinning, what's the sort of like analogy that I want to use, or what even the example? Because I'm pretty sure there's another anime which I have seen. It might have actually been this one, but I'm trying to remember. Oh no, I know what it was. It was Kuroko no Basket, actually. The idea that, you know, that he has this thing called an ignite pass, which basically, you know, before you sort of pass a ball, or at least with the palm of a hand, which is one of his special moves, instead he adds a spin to it, so he spins the ball, which, you know, increases in velocity, which generates more power while it's going forward. So I feel like when he's gyrating his, you know, and using these sort of like drill arms or kicks or anything like that, that he's actually, you know, he's actually forcing a hell of a lot more impact because of the drill, you know, as it is. But you know, Ojiro's doing well in sort of like his dodging and kind of taking those hits, which I feel like is his main, you know, his strength anyway. Is Ojiro's strength is his like sort of agility, if you will. Because essentially what he's got is he's almost got 5 limbs. I mean, his tail is, you know, he's got incredible control over that thing. So, you know, it makes sense that he would. And yeah, Pony with a horn cannon, which it seems like the way they were talking about is like they have this sort of homing ability, and that she can control up to 4 at once, and no more than that at a time, and they just go back. And even then, like something as simple as a horn cannon, like how much more can you really do with that, you know? But even then, they still feel like they still manage to use it in a roundabout way, which helps their teammates rather than it just seeming like it's just an attack from range. You know what I mean? Similar to what a bow and arrow would be, you know, or a gun or anything like that. But using them, because she's able to, I guess, use them from afar in a sort of like a homing sense. She almost has like remote control abilities over them, that she can put them at a speed, grasp under Tetsu and actually fly him forward. Obviously, again, generating more impact, getting through the ice and getting a hold of Todoroki. So again, the teamwork on show with something that you wouldn't expect is rife here as well. So yeah, we have other heroes requesting to team up with Endeavor as well. So not just like Hawks, really. Of course, they're doing their own thing. Hawks has got his own thing going on anyway. And it's interesting. I wonder where Endeavor is now. Is that where he was leaving to when he was in the train station or whatever it was? When like him and Hawks parted ways? Is that where he's at now? Because yeah, it is something that I don't recognise, but then it could just be a different part of the city, you know? I mean, I'm guessing if he's on a train, he's not really that far away. But because they're heroes, I just feel like they can like just traverse insane distances. But I guess I'm thinking of the likes of maybe Hawks or All Might. They can just use that power to jump. Endeavor really kind of doesn't have that, you know. But yeah. So yeah, we'll have other heroes, which he doesn't seem to be kind of turning down. He's just saying that, like, you know, file all requests up, unless he's like, you know, get them all together so I can just deny them one off the bat. You know what I mean? Because he's not one that's like, I feel like he's not one to truly work with other heroes really either. I mean, even All Might was that way as well. I mean, the only like one time where he kind of gave in was with Sir Night-Eye. But other than that, he didn't really. I guess Dave earlier on as well. But yeah. What else? Yeah, I like the Todoroki and Tokoyami connection thing because of the fact that, like, you know, both of their sort of study work program heroes, they work together for that last big fight. You know, that, you know, they kind of bonded over that and had that connection is really cool. And Tokoyami telling Todoroki to avenge him for that, because that they, you know, the idea that Tokoyami almost feels like a sense of, you know, like not only pride but like obligation to, you know, like uphold the respect of the heroes that they worked under, and they're expected more of because of that, is a big deal. So yeah, just it's kind of showing that Tokoyami did take that to kind of heart a lot, you know. Even with like his new move and everything like that, they were unable to get past it. So yeah, that's the other thing is like Tokoyami, like I feel like he's only, in terms of his character, he's always been, I guess he kind of does cut off his emotions at some point, like because he's, you know, like he's like that kind of emo character, I guess that doesn't really make sense. That's kind of like completely disregarding the idea that emo are emotional, but that it's kind of like this idea that he hides behind that, maybe, you know. I mean, I know that obviously he's all about, you know, the darkness and the shadows, and it's easy to hide in the darkness and the shadows, but then maybe like the only time that we've really seen him like really open up and be you know, somewhat, you know, frightful and fearful, sad, was what happened with Shoji in season 3. So to kind of see him a bit sort of, I guess, defeated, the idea that, you know, he wasn't able to uphold that in that match and actually win, even though he was under the number 2 hero, is nice to see. And then other than that, we had a little talk with All Might, Deku, and then Bakugo, who showed up, which I like. I like the fact that Bakugo is now a part of this. You know, of course, would you expect anything less? I mean, the idea that, you know, since episode 23 of season 3, where Deku and Bakugo had their second fight, and then All Might came out and talked about everything. And told the truth to Bakugo. That Bakugo is almost like now a part of that. He's become, they've become the trio, as opposed to just it being All Might and Deku beforehand talking about everything. The Bakugo now feels like he should be, you know, he should be let into everything that is going on, since he is the one that knows about it as well. And that is only fair. But like, I mean, it comes from the whole thing of Bakugo. He just sees it as he's wanting. I mean, not only is he wanting to prove that, you know, he can go as far as Deku can with, you know, the greatest power from the greatest hero, but he's also wanting Deku to, you know, if you want to go down that route again, uphold the legacy that has. Like it's such, you know, Bakugo holds it in, you know, such high regard as much as Deku does, you know. So he wants Deku to uphold that respect, you know, and use it in the best way that you can. Like that, you know, you need to hold yourself to a standard that is higher than everyone else's, because, you know, those before him laid the groundwork. You know, and you were gifted this power, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just like the fact that he's part of the trio, so it's really cool to get him involved in it. And also they kind of set up this idea that the vestiges will appear in match 5, and I feel like because they've set it out that way, it's going to. I mean, they already started off the vestiges in earlier on this season, even the back end of last season, that it was something that was going to be coming up and popping up and cropping up in upcoming episodes and the future episodes, because it's something that gradually we're going to get more and more information on. So it seems likely that the next time that's going to crop up is in match 5, which is only going to be like a few episodes away. So yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. And who knows, maybe that does actually invite this idea that Deku does actually lose in match 5. Maybe because of, if he's focused too much on the vestiges, maybe he just loses focus because he's dealing with the vestiges thing. He's not focusing on the match. If that kind of collides, who knows? I mean, we know that there's a force activation thing, but we've only seen it actually used when he's unconscious. So who knows? He could go unconscious again. He could get trapped again with Shinso's quirk, and again that happens. I feel like that's probably the most obvious way it would happen, is that he gets caught by Shinso's quirk, and therefore he goes into, and we get like a whole new memory thing open up, where the original starts talking to Deku again, and you get more information, more backstory, and then force activation. He comes out of it, and once again, Shinso's quirk has been deactivated, and I can see it being a thing where Shinso gets proper frustrated. Again, how is this possible? So I don't know. I feel like that's the most obvious way, but will they go that route? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah. Anyway, that is all I've got. As of right now, what we've seen in this matchup, I can't tell who's going to come out on top yet. Shoji is kind of useless at this point. Sorry to say, because with all of the destruction and everything going around, he knows where everyone is. His sort of, his quirk has lent him well to being that sort of support person who does recon and sees where people, where the enemy is. So is he going to have to kind of go up front and start fighting? It's not something that he really does. So it's going to be interesting to see if he does end up doing that, because he's going to have, I feel like at some point during the match he's going to be sort of wondering what he can do to actually help, because at the moment he's doing nothing. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord. You can get yourself over there if you wish, and I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access gives you access to shows a week early. There's the full length, which gives you access to the full length reactions to all the shows I do, and then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to full length movie reactions as well. So as for the last Fate movie, it was supposed to come out a few days ago, but I've been having problems with copyright and trying to get it uploaded, so I've just been trying to cut out the right amount without it being too much, and it basically having no context in the reaction. I like it to kind of be around 20 minutes for a movie if I can, because I feel like that's enough to sort of just so you can kind of get my reactions to the best parts of the movie at least, without having to get the full length reaction, right? So yeah, I am trying to get that out. It shouldn't be too much longer, okay? So yeah, anyway, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.